Yeah, but he gives the wrist anyways. He doesn't give a shit. He
Yeah,
just puts his finger.
no. I blocked it here.
Very interesting statement from Ermes there. Typically, we see him grabbing high into his opponent's fingers to prevent their wrist flexion, but here he's talking about clamping the base of Jerry's wrist to prevent wrist extension. In other words, to prevent Jerry's ability to hit that flop press off the start. Now, it's a bold strategy, Cotton, so let's see some of Jerry's recent matches and see if anybody else deployed this strategy against him and were they successful. Now, if we go back to 2018, Devin Larratt actually had a similar, albeit slightly different strategy, similar in that he wanted to prevent Jerry from hitting the flop press, but different in the execution. You can see Devin wanting to bring that shoulder forward, wanting to carve in and get wrist on wrist with Jerry, and indeed Devin was successful. We saw 0 flop pressing in this 5-round super match, and while it may seem counterintuitive to go inside with Jerry, Devin found success with it. But you gotta remember, Jerry Cadorette is a 340-pound strength freak, and if you go inside with him, things like that can happen. You can get hammered to the pad.
Believe me, ideally, I would love it for the match to go, for them not to go, yes, close wrist like this.
So there we have Jerry saying he's perfectly comfortable with people going inside with him. In fact, he calls it ideal. So round 1 against Gennady, you can see Jerry is already kind of kicking that wrist back. Gennady's high on the hand, allowing Jerry to do so, and expectedly, this match goes right into a flop press like most people were expecting. Round 2, similar story, Gennady getting high with the base of his wrist up into Jerry's fingers, giving Jerry a perfect lane to kick that wrist back and hit that flop press. Round 3, we don't have a great angle for it, but you can see Gennady's index finger peeking over the top there, and Jerry's actually going to do exactly what he talked about with Neil and just hammer Gennady inside. Round 4, once again, Gennady is grabbing pretty high and allowing Jerry that wrist extension to get into that flop press position. And finally, round 5, Gennady again giving Jerry a perfect lane to kick his wrist back and get into the flop. So we don't need to look at every single round against Georgi Svetkov because they're all pretty similar. Georgi's going to hit a big sweeping defensive top roll and crack the wrist of Jerry and then work from there. But the problem is Jerry is extremely sticky right above the pin pad even without his wrist. And this is the exact scenario that Ermes is trying to avoid. He sees Georgi in this position and Georgi is extremely strong, unable to finish Jerry despite having everything. Georgi continuing to climb, eating Jerry's hand alive, but can't find the pin pad. So Ermes is thinking, well, if Georgi can't finish from there, Gennady's also had similar trouble. Maybe I just don't let Jerry get into this position in the first place, because even though Jerry's on the defensive side here, he's slowly going to work his shoulder more and more forward like a boa constrictor until he's on the offense in a proper flop press position like that, and Georgi's not going to be able to get out of this one. He's going to try to hit his way out, unable to do so, and eventually he's going to have to bail out with an elbow foul. So this is what Ermes is trying to avoid by clamping Jerry low on the wrist. Now I want to drive the point home that just because you prevent Jerry from getting into a flop press does not mean you're in clear water. Check out what happens here against Todd Hutchings. Hammered to the pad inside, and it was such a strong hit that next round Todd actually top rolled Jerry Cadorette. Todd Hutchings top rolled him.
I squeeze his wrist like when you put the lemon inside
like sponge.
Yeah. And he could do nothing with the wrist, with the arm.
So what do you guys think? Is Ermes going to be hooking Jerry with that low grip clamping strategy, or are we going to see a top roll situation like Georgi? And if so, does Ermes have the horsepower to finish it? Let me know in the comments how you see this going and the final score. If you enjoyed this video, flop press that like button and subscribe to catch all the future content. Got a bunch more in the pipeline for you guys, and I will see you in the next one.